If you've ever wondered what it's like to live in the Mitten State, stay tuned because I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of living in Michigan. Hey everybody, I'm Heerspink. I am a licensed realtor here in the state of Michigan and a Grand Rapids native. Yes, born and raised, I've never moved away, so of course I probably have a lot of pros about living here. So I'm gonna share some of those along with things I don't really like. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Make sure you click to subscribe and hit the notification button so you'll see all of my latest updates and videos about living in Michigan. All right, let's jump into this, you guys. So we're gonna start with the cons. And although, like I said, I really love living here in Michigan, there's a few things that just really kind of bug me about it. And the first one, for me at least, is the weather. And I hate saying it because we have so many great seasons here, but I do not like to be cold. So for me, the wintertime just sucks. Right now, when I'm recording this video, it is like 15 degrees outside. And that's not even bad because yesterday it was like 6 degrees. So for me, the winter, I really don't like it because of the cold, the ice, the snow, and the fact that it just drags on forever. Like, we're in February and we've been dealing with this cold weather now for 3 months, and it just gets like colder and colder and colder, and you think it's never going to end, and then all of a sudden it does. So the wintertime can definitely be a drag here in Michigan. It leads me into one of my next cons of living in Michigan is that you most likely will want to have a car when you're living here. Now, the reason I say that, because even though like Grand Rapids in general is really easy to get around, you can basically get across the city within 20 to 25 minutes, and traffic isn't that bad. But if you're used to living in an area that has public transportation and walkability and you don't need a car, this might be a shock to you. So living here in Grand Rapids or West Michigan area, if you're in like the city limits and you're in one of those smaller communities, you might not need to have a car. But if you're living in like Grand Rapids Metro or other areas of West Michigan, it's going to be probably like 15 to 20 minutes of you driving around, getting between like the school, the grocery store, the dentist, doctor's office, things like that. So you for sure want to have a car because our bus routes, like I said, they're good in the city limits. There's a lot of different routes there, but outside of that, not so much. You know, we don't really have other means of transportation like public transportation that bigger cities have. My third con, I would say, that I personally don't like about living in Michigan is the other season we have, construction. So here in Michigan, we commonly joke that there's two seasons. We have winter, which you already know my feelings on, and then we have construction. And the reason we joke about that is because literally once the weather breaks and the snow melts, the construction like signs just pop up all over. And sometimes this makes your commute a little bit more difficult when you're trying to find different routes to go through, and this can last from like spring all the way into fall. I guess a good thing about that is since our city is growing, you know, our infrastructure is also growing too, so I shouldn't complain about it, but it's just one of those kind of nuisances and annoying things. All right, so we got the cons out of the way. Now let's get to some of my favorite things about living here in Michigan, especially West Michigan. So my first pro that I love is the fact that we are so close to Lake Michigan. So I'm located closer to the city of Grand Rapids, like downtown Grand Rapids, and it takes me probably about 30 minutes to get to the lake shore. So within half an hour, you are basically in a whole different atmosphere. The beautiful lakeshore, the beautiful beach towns. There's so much to do out there in the summer, from amazing restaurants to different shops and boating, kayaking, laying in the sand. It is just amazing. If you continue to go down the coast, like so, if you go from downtown Grand Rapids and you head straight west, you're gonna hit into like Grand Haven, which is a very popular beach town. And then you can still, like from there, you can almost like beach hop to like all these different beach towns. And you could literally take a whole day and just go drive and enjoy all these different state parks and beaches and hiking and restaurants. It is so much fun. And you can do all that in one day. So my second pro about living here in West Michigan kind of ties into the first one, because basically in like 30 to 45 minutes, you can get anywhere. So not just the lakeshore, but if you head north, there's also some great recreation up there. There's camping and all these other lakes up there. So if you're not a fan of like the big lake, which is literally like, it looks like an ocean, and you want something a little bit more smaller, the West Michigan area and then like all above us and around us is peppered with these really cool all sports lakes, cottages, and a lot of fun things to do. If you head 45 minutes south, you can head into these other areas, like there's Kalamazoo, there's Lansing, that's pretty close to us. If you're a fan of college football, Michigan State is pretty close in the fall. So again, we're pretty close to a lot of fun recreation and things to do with a short drive. My next pro about living here in the West Michigan or Grand Rapids area would be the opportunities. If you're not familiar with the downtown area, we do have a corridor called Medical Mile, and there we have universities, medical facilities, hospitals, doctors' offices, research facilities, you name it. West Michigan is home to some of the best medical specialists in the Midwest, including one of my personal favorites. As a mother, we have Helen DeVos Children's Hospital, which is one of the best pediatric hospitals in our area. So if you're also a mom or a dad and you're relocating your family to Michigan, I highly suggest checking out Grand Rapids and or the West Michigan area because of the proximity to this amazing medical community. So not just Medical Mile, but we're booming with technology here in the Grand Rapids and West Michigan area. So if you're an entrepreneur or you're in that tech field, or maybe you're in that medical field, there are so many job opportunities for you here in our area. Another one of my most favorite pros about living in West Michigan, especially Grand Rapids, is there's always something to do. So our city center, our downtown, is just booming with local businesses. I personally live really close to the downtown area, so one of my favorite things to do on the weekends with girlfriends is go grab a bite to eat, and then in the summertime, check out some of the local museums and or live music that's happening, and you can frequently find that all over town. As far as entertainment, if you again are in that downtown city center, there's a lot of walkability between like downtown GR and then the fun communities around it, or you can hop in an Uber for like $5 and you can just kind of bounce around from like community to community in that city center of Grand Rapids. Another pro about living in West Michigan is we do have the Grand Rapids Airport here in town. So some of my clients who travel a lot, they really enjoy living here in West Michigan because they're really, really close to that airport and it's easy to get to. So for them, they can live in a really cute, charming city and they don't have to drive 3 hours to an airport in Detroit. They can be pretty close to GR and still get flights directly out of Grand Rapids to wherever they're traveling to. And this leads me into my next pro, our community. When you're visiting the downtown Grand Rapids area, as I noted, you have all these fun businesses that you can hop around, and then located around the downtown area, you have all these other communities and neighborhoods that each have their own flair. Our community members here in Grand Rapids are so nice, so caring. You can go out even by yourself, grab dinner, and I guarantee you, you're gonna run into somebody who's gonna chat your ear off, and by the end of the night, you'll be best friends. So all in all, this community is just awesome. From the things to do, the people, the businesses, the locally owned businesses, and all in between, there's just a lot of good energy here in Grand Rapids and our community. There's been times I've considered moving away from Grand Rapids, but then I always bring my thoughts back and I never move because I just love, love, love the community here in Grand Rapids. All right, you guys, that is it for my pros and cons of living here in West Michigan or the Grand Rapids area of Michigan. If you liked this video, go ahead and leave me a comment below and tell me what you liked about it. Again, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe. And if you are looking to relocate or move in or around Michigan, I would love to connect. So check out my contact information below and reach out. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to sharing more with you about living in Michigan.